Hi, Body Messiah. Today we're going to finish the final part of UBP, Uncovering Biblical Prophecy, Lesson 16. We're going to cover part 3, which is the last section of the prophetic scriptures in Jeremiah chapter 30. The scriptures we're going to cover is verses 18 through 25. As I mentioned before, we're going to keep these categories up because we see these prophecies being fulfilled and uncovered. You'll find that a lot of people will find themselves in these various categories. And it's very vital that we stay away from this category. Okay? In this particular category, for those who refuse to accept who the actual descendants of Israel are, they can get pulled down into this arena over here where there are major workers of iniquity in. Okay? The workers of iniquity who feel like they are Hasatans or Satan's right hand person are determined to keep the descendants of Israel oppressed or determined to keep all people oppressed. Okay? And as I mentioned before, you will find that there are even some Hebrew descendants of patriarch Abraham or even descendants of Jacob, Israel, who fall into this category here, right? And all the way down here, where the workers of iniquity are, okay? But as we move forward, it becomes very important to understand the importance of biblical prophecy and what's going to happen to those who fall in these categories, big time, and even some here, okay? Now, if you want to pause this video, you can pause it, and so you can go and pull out your Bible and follow along with us with the scriptures. I use a Tree of Life version for this section of the lessons that we're covering. I vary between Tree of Life and King James Version. So if you would like to pause, you can go ahead and get your Bible and open up and follow along with us. So let's begin with Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 18. Adonai says, "Indeed, I will return the tents of Jacob from exile and have compassion on his dwelling. The city will be built up on her mound, and the citadel will stand in its rightful place." Now, this is my interpretation of the city and the citadel that he's talking about. He's talking about the Most High God. He's talking about Jerusalem, that the city is going to be built up on her mound, right, in its appropriate place by the actual inhabitants being returned there. And it's going to sit, the citadel is going to sit in its rightful place. This is in the latter days that the Most High God is referring to. He continued on to say, he said, "Out of them will be thanksgiving and sounds of celebration." Now, I don't know about you or other woke descendants of Israel, but I know me personally. When the Most High God allowed me to be a part of this great awakening, I rejoice, I celebrate, and I'm so thankful that He showered me with His grace and mercy. I can't tell you how many times that I thank Him, and I'm going to continue to have thanksgiving for that. But God has awakened us and showered us with His grace and mercy. So this is an exciting time. Our Most High God continues by saying, "I will multiply their seed. They will never decrease." Okay? So they're going to be multiplied. We're multiplied and never decrease. Think about all the oppression that the descendants of Israel has went through, even through the curses that Deuteronomy 28. Our seed is always multiplied and increased, and it's continuing in various numbers to increase even during this time of turmoil. God continues to say, "I will honor them. They will not be insignificant." So we are not insignificant people, no matter what location you find us on the planet, what population, whether descendants of slaves or you found of Africans and African descendants are in South America, Central America, whether they're in the US, whether they're in Australia, New Zealand, parts of Europe, all over. We're not insignificant. We're a valuable, vital part, as you guys can see based on the Olympics scattered everywhere. Okay? He continues to say about the descendants of Israel that He says, his children, he's talking about Jacob, his children will be as formerly. His community will be set up before me, right? And I will punish all of his oppressors. Okay? So, once again, like in the second part of the lesson we covered in the previous scriptures of Jeremiah 30, he is reiterating that he is going to punish all the oppressors of Israel and Jacob. So, be very aware of what category you fall in. Okay? This is a vow of Adonai, and he makes it clear every word that proceeds from him will never return void. It's going to go and fulfill what it says it's going to fulfill. So he continues by saying, his noble one will be from his own. His ruler will be from amongst his own. I will bring him close to me, and he will come before me. Okay? To approach me. And then he asks a rhetorical question. For who is he who pledged his heart so that he's able to come before me? Now that's a rhetorical question the Most High God is asking. Who is he who pledged his heart to approach me? He's asking who that is, body and Messiah. And out of all the descendants of Patriarch Abraham, there is one that we know for certain who pledged his heart to the Most High God and begged and would not refuse to let go unless he was blessed by the Most High God. None other than Jacob, Israel. So God continues to say, because we know who that is, he said, basically, for he will be my people and I will be their God. He's talking about Israel. Okay? Because Jacob pledged his heart to him. So out of all the groups of people, us being the chosen people, he's going to follow through on the fact that we are going to be his people and he is going to be our God. So it doesn't matter if actual descendants of Israel fall in this category. You better understand that God, if you fall in this one, he don't care if you're an actual descendant or not. You're going to be punished according to that standard. But he's going to make sure that the remnant understand that they are his people. And we have to hold to his standards, his ordinances that are mentioned in the Torah. Because he said, I will be their God. Okay? Now, let's move on because in this next section, it says, look, the storm of Adonai. Furies spring forth, and a storm is churning. Whirlwinds about the head of the wicked is rotating around. Right? Scary, scary sight. Adonai's fierce anger will not stop until he has done it. Until he has fulfilled the purpose in his heart. In the last days, you will understand it. So listen to what Adonai is saying. His fierce anger will not stop until he's done it. Basically punishing all those who have oppressed the descendants of Israel. And he's not going to stop with his fierce anger and the fury until he's done it. He fulfills the purpose of his heart. Okay? His heart and his desires. So be very aware of these categories. Right? When you listen to this prophecy, then he continues to say, and at that time, I will be the God of all, not some, all the families of Israel, and they will be my people. So notice how he reiterates this over and over again. They will be my people and I will be their God. This is a prophecy that's continuously being fulfilled as many are being awakened. Well, body Messiah, this is the end of part 3, the last section of Jeremiah chapter 30. We're going to move on to some of the Messiah's bodies lessons. I believe we're going to cover things like, for instance, we're going to cover Haiti. I've noticed that so many evangelicals get so wrapped up in making statements about Haiti, about it being cursed, saying that they're cursed because they fought against their oppressors and slaughtered their oppressors. So they
What?
behave as if all these turmoils that are happening right now is because of the fact that they fought against and slaughtered their oppressors. So we're going to cover that in various detail when we go on to the next lessons. We may also have a little part that covers sections of Jeremiah 30, where we talk about the time of Jacob being chaotic or distressful. Section in there where it talks about the lovers. Your lovers have forgotten you. So, Body Messiah, I hope you're able to join me. Um, I hope and pray that many people who know Haitian, have Haitian friends or know Haitian descendants, who are also descendants of Israel, be able to get them to tune in and to listen to that lesson. All of our people who are in the diaspora really needs to listen to that lesson because it's going to show you how the media and certain people in it, the structure of the Babylonian system, has been meant to continuously try to oppress and keep certain groups like those who fought against their oppressors and overtook them and defeated them to try and keep them looked at as the ones who are at the bottom of the barrel. And that's not true according to scriptures, and especially according to biblical prophecy. Well, Body of Messiah, I'm so glad that you were able to join me. And like I always say to you, may Adonai Elohim cover and surround you and your family, shield and protect you all, and envelop you in his shalom peace. Goodbye.